And good evening, folks, and welcome out to JL Butch Stoker Stadium. As it is scrimmage time, 2000, a couple of weeks away from the start of the season. The scrimmage tonight is brought to you by our friends at Central Management. They've got nursing homes and those homes all across the state of Louisiana, specifically Belle Grande here locally, and Lagniappe Home Care. So we're delighted to have them. We welcome in Riverside Hospital. When you are looking around and the scoring going on, you will see the Riverside Red Zone. So a lot of big things to go on. We are proud of the folks that have jumped on board with us. And speaking of jumping on board with us, I go to my broadcast partner of 3-4 years now, I guess it's getting there, and Nick Magnano joins us. Nick, welcome.
Yeah, it's good to be back, Doug. 98 degrees. It says it's partly cloudy, which I guess right here it is, but I didn't know it. So southwest wind 8 miles an hour. It could affect some of the kicking, but it's hopefully this stuff will get east of us, and it'll be a good night of football.
There you go. Thank you, Nick. Also new this season, it was between the telestrator and this guy. And as much as I wanted the telestrator, I lost out on it. And we've got Coach Thomas Scully that joins us. You remember him from all over the place, specifically on the Tioga Call last season, but as a head coach of softball down at Avoyelles Charter, and has spent a time around all over the place. And we're delighted to have him into the booth. Coach Thomas Scully, welcome.
Thank you, Doug and Nick, and looking forward to a great season. And football's in the air, and what a better place to be right here.
JL Butch Stoker Stadium certainly is a site for it. We were down. You are, so internet's going in and out on us, but I want to welcome the rest of our crew. Jason Crooks on plays tonight, how it's going to look, and just what they can expect out of tonight's scrimmage.
Well, it'd be nice if we had the actual itinerary. We're efforting for that. Our GM and operations manager had a bunch of things going on for the Trojan football team, so he's efforting to get that for us. If we get that, I will let you guys know. He's going to send it to me in text. But yeah, I mean, of course, in the past, it's basically there'll be different things. They might do 10 plays or 5 plays from the 10-yard line, 10 plays from the 20-yard line. That may start at the 35, they may start at the 30. It's going to be a controlled scrimmage like that, but usually at the very end we'll be in live football, hopefully for 12 to 15 minutes, and that's definitely the fun part.
Well, Nick, one of the things, this sort of a setup favors a team like Acadiana, and we saw that last year in the script section of it, because they could bust a big run and come right back and do it again, and they purposely grind on you, or you can get a turnover and a stop and they get it back again as well. So it's a little bit of a different outlook.
Yeah, it's always difficult to, and of course, Coach, I'd like for you to chime in on this because you've been through it as a coach, unlike us. But yeah, I mean, it gets very. I know last year, whenever we were down at Acadiana, it got very frustrating because, like you said, they had two big plays. In their first 2 drives, we ended up, having I guess what you'd call a 5 and out, because we were moving the ball well and just kind of ran out of downs. And so, Coach, how does that affect you whenever you're going to? Of course, you're just looking for certain things to happen, aren't you?
Right, you're just trying to execute, and you come in with a game plan as far as certain amount of plays you want to run. You want to look at the inside run, the outside run, and then what your passing game looks like. For Acadiana, who's predominantly run with a split back veer, it makes a huge difference. And for sure, but they love to run the ball, and that's what's been the Wreckin Rams cliche there as far as getting that done.
One thing that we've kind of talked about in the past, and I don't, I haven't talked to really Coach about this, but maybe it's something that we'll get to talk to him about. But that 2-5A football, there's a lot of running the ball, and maybe not necessarily in this option like this, but there's a lot of ground and pound. So my assumption is that over the years he's wanted to play against a team like this in a scrimmage. Next week we go down to Zachary for the Jamboree. Okay, so that's going to be a different offense. So so he definitely has a very, very good plan on the different teams he's going to play, getting prepared for not only the non-district but also that district. One thing we can do, Coach, we can go ahead and talk about this but pretty much, it's going to be his third year starting in the system. 60-something touchdowns over the past 2 years. I mean, and then those guys, they were solid last year. Both of them, they split time, when they were healthy, but there were also injuries. Both of them, suffered from injuries over. Alex Fontenot's back. They get a young man named Reggie Monroe from down in Hammond, and he's got a kind of unique nickname. I'm gonna save it for Doug. When Doug starts calling the plays, but he's number one. So he'll be a little scat back, kind of reminds us of Darius Washington. So he'll be very good. And then, like I said, you have Fontenot back. But then, one of my things, I know we've talked on the phone, Coach. I really expect KJ Ray to really have a big year. He was hurt all last year. And then he's healthy this year. He catches everything. He's kind of a little spark plug as well. But I'm sure he'll have a bunch of one-on-ones with Fontenot and Reggie. Taking up the main coverage on the one side. But they bring back Hayden Burford, which Coach said he's just a winner. Right. He's just a winner. He'll also do punt returns. I mean, he's nut back for the kickoff returns, and he's a solid player. Hopefully his grandparents in Arkansas, hopefully they're watching us like last year. But so you have those guys return offense. As far as your playmakers, really Gaines McKenzie going to be your tight end, and him and Crenshaw, and hopefully another year in the offense they'll get a few more opportunities than what they had last year. I know you had your hands full last year covering Tioga, and I know that you didn't get to watch as much of this Ash ball club, but that's the returning guys, and I know the coaches are excited about these guys coming back. As a coach, whenever you had that many returners in those key positions, how did you feel?
Well, what you want to do, and no doubt about it, Coach Bachman and his staff, they get to expand it a little bit, and they get to just really focus on with the amount of weapons that are coming back. It just makes it that much funner because now you get to expand. You get to play from sideline to sideline. Maybe tweak a few plays, but you're not missing a beat. The number 2 is just as good as the number 1. So you got 3 or 4 outside weapons that you're throwing to when you're talking about receivers, and there's no drop off. Those guys are just stepping in, and they're just it's just one after another, and those guys are just. They're not missing a beat. Sellers isn't missing a beat. He's going to be. He'll want to throw to anybody because he knows they'll all be able to catch it. He'll be able to hand it off, knowing that he can hand it off to any of those guys. Especially when you're talking about the 2 Williams, those guys are just explosive in themselves. So just to be able to get them the ball, and it's a rotation, and there's no stopping. It's all gas, no brakes, and that's why they run the offense they run, and that's why they've had the success and will continue because they have that everybody wishes they could have, and that is the advantage.
Bryson Phoenix over the summer, and Doug did a really good interview with him, and I know he's posted bits and pieces of it, but it's been a Bryson's he's going to be missed for sure, but they bring back Jaden Bion, who's a Mississippi State signee. They bring back Gary Boatman. They bring back Peyton Crutchfield. That's just across your front. Okay, they did move Carter Rivette from the offensive line to the defensive line. So, but he's experienced. He started every game last year at offensive tackle. Linebacker Jackson Townsend. He's now going. My assumption is that's probably. That was LHS